Okay, today we're going to talk about how to complete a closed reading activity. Just like when I give you an apple, you don't swallow it whole. The same thing is the case for reading. We will take our reading bit by bit, bite by bite. To get started, you'll need 3 different highlighters and something to write with, as well as the piece that you are annotating. Okay, so first things first, you're going to find the title of the piece. Go ahead and circle it, and then start writing your thoughts above it. Draw an arrow. So for the sniper, I thought, is this an army? Is this war? So those are some questions that I wrote. Notice I didn't write the whole question. I just kind of wrote some thoughts and put question marks. Is someone going to be killed? Is the sniper just named, is this a dog named Sniper? Okay. The next thing I did was look at the author, and it looks like his name is Irish, so I wonder, is this Irish? Okay. And then I drew brackets. Brackets look like this. Okay. Draw them on both sides of a chunk. Just decide about how much you can digest at a time. At the beginning, you'll digest less than at the end. Put away your pen and grab your first highlighter color. At the top of the page, you'll create a key with each of those colors. One color will represent characterization. I chose yellow. Another color will represent the plot. I chose pink for the plot. Another color will represent setting. I chose green for setting. And then you need to indicate what those colors represent by doing something like what I've done here. So the next thing we will do is highlight the chunk that we have partitioned off here. I will start with character. Doesn't matter what order you go in, but you do need to decide which order you will go in and stick with it so that you're in a good habit. So first I'm going to go sentence by sentence and look for character. So I'll read, the long June twilight faded into night. Is there anything about a person here? No. So I'm going to move on to the next sentence. Dublin lay enveloped in darkness, but for the dim light of the moon that shone through fleecy clouds, casting a pale light as of approaching dawn over the streets and the dark waters of the Liffey. Is this about a person, I ask myself? But I know there's nothing about a character or a person in this sentence, so I move on again. Around the beleaguered four courts, the heavy guns roared. Do we learn anything about a character? No. So you see what we're doing here. We just look for information about a character and move on if we see nothing. Here and there through the city, machine guns and rifles broke the silence of the night spasmodically like dogs barking on lone farms. Again, nothing about a character here. Republicans and Free Staters were waging civil war. In this sentence, we are introduced to 2 types of characters it looks like we'll see in this story, Republicans and Free Staters. So we highlight that. Not a lot of character in this chunk, but that's fine. We'll move on to plot, sentence by sentence. Now we've read it once, so we're going to read sentence by sentence again to see what we can find. So the long June twilight faded into night. We have a little bit about the plot here. Nighttime is starting. Okay. Dublin lay enveloped in darkness, but for the dim light of the moon that shone through fleecy clouds, casting a pale light as of approaching dawn over the streets and the dark waters of the Liffey. Okay, we have a description more of Dublin, but nothing really happening here, so we move on to the next sentence. Around the beleaguered four courts, the heavy guns roared. Okay, we have heavy guns roaring, so we'll highlight that. Next sentence, here and there, here and there, through the city, machine guns and rifles broke the silence of the night spasmodically like dogs barking on lone farms. In this sentence, we see machine guns and rifles are breaking the silence. This is something that's happening, so we highlight it with our plot color. Okay, Republicans and Free Staters were waging civil war. Something that's happening right now is civil war, so we're going to highlight that in pink. Well, I will highlight in pink, but you will choose your color. Okay, finished with plot for that chunk, so I'll put away my marker and grab my setting color. My setting color is green. Again, I'm going to go sentence by sentence. Okay, the long June twilight faded into night. Is anything here describing the setting? Yes, we have a lot here. It's a long June twilight. Okay, in Ireland, the evenings in the summer are very long. So this is one description of that setting. Okay, Dublin lay enveloped in darkness, but for the dim light of the moon that shone through fleecy clouds, casting a pale light as of approaching dawn over the streets and the dark waters of the Liffey. This whole sentence is describing Dublin. So we highlight the whole sentence. the next sentence is, around the beleaguered four courts, the heavy guns roared. Okay, we have four courts, which sounds like a place. We don't exactly know what that is, but we're going to highlight how it's described. That's part of the setting. You could even go ahead and highlight this. Okay. Here and there through the city, machine guns and rifles broke the silence of the night spasmodically like dogs barking on lone farms. Okay, do we have anything in this sentence that's describing the setting? No, we have more of a description of the events happening. Okay, Republicans and Free Staters were waging civil war. Okay, I would go as far as to say civil war is describing the setting. A location that's going through war is definitely going to look different than a location that's not. And things in your writing can be both. So when that happens, you can either underline the second time you see it, circle it, or you can highlight it again, but it's easier to see if you kind of have the color not overlapping. Okay, so once you're finished with those three colors, you want to grab your pen again, and you're going to look at your chunk and look at the words that maybe you don't understand and circle them. I will circle a few here and show you what you will do with the words that you don't understand. You don't have to circle these, but these are the things that you would look up. Okay, so once you circle these, as long as you have access to look something up, go ahead and do so. If not, guess. Ask questions about these words. Okay, so what is a Free Stater? When I look this up, I see that this is Irish people who were for the independence of Ireland in the 1920s. So I'm just going to write that. I look over here, spasmodically, this means random bursts. If I looked that up, I'd find that. Liffey actually means life in Irish, but this is a river in Dublin. If I look that up, I'd be able to see that. Also, Liffey can also be the center of town in this case, because usually rivers are the center of town. And enveloped means surrounded by or taken over. Okay, and beleaguered means also means taken over by like forces, like the army. Okay, so that's what you do with any of the words you don't understand. Now I want to do some quick summary stuff with each chunk. So here I see this is war, and that's very important, so I'm going to write it really big and underline it. I also see that this is in Dublin, Ireland. So I'm writing the setting up here so I can refer to it and prove that I know it. And anything else that happens in each chunk, that's what you will write here. If you have any questions like, why war? Why couldn't they just not have war? You can write whatever you need in that chunk. The more you write, the more you are interacting with the text, and the better you are understanding it. So the next chunk, this case, we will do these two paragraphs, and then after you digest that part of the apple, you will decide if you can do a little chunk after that or a big chunk. When things are happening more often, if you see a lot of pink, you probably want to slow down. If you see a lot of setting, you can probably speed up. That's a general rule of thumb. Okay? So good luck on your close reading.